Hi there! You're watching the Handmade by Lorelei podcast. I'm Lorelei, coming to you from upstate New York, where it is a very snowy Monday morning, January 8th. This is my knitting podcast where I talk a little bit about my knitting projects and some other little crafts thrown in for good measure. And I've got a good agenda today for you. I'm not operating on any show notes, so we're just going to see how this goes. But I have 3 finished objects, 3 works in progress, a couple of new acquisitions, and I'm going to talk about my Make 9 goals for 2018. So let's go ahead and get started. Happy Monday morning and Happy New Year. It's 2018. It's not a resolution per se, but my goal for 2018 is to be more active, and I am going to try to do that on a daily basis by walking on the treadmill. And that doesn't seem like a big deal, and when I think about it in my head, I think it's not a big deal. Just get on the treadmill. Just get on the treadmill. All you're doing is walking. Just get on the treadmill. But for some reason, I would much rather sit on the couch and knit with my morning coffee and watch a couple podcasts and then go about my regular day. And when I walk on the treadmill, I try to walk for an hour, and that takes an hour away from other things that I like to be doing. So I'm going to try to do it every day. We'll see what happens. I always say that, and then I jinx myself. I do have my Fitbit back on, and I've logged 5,300 steps today so far, and it's only 9 a.m. So that's a good start to the day. But this isn't a podcast about walking on the treadmill or resolutions. Another thing I want to do, though, speaking of resolutions, is drink more water. And that shall help a long list of many things that I won't get into here, but I'm definitely going to try to drink more water throughout my day as well. I really have no excuse. I work from home. I have, water cooler in the kitchen that I can pour cold water anytime I want. I just don't. For some reason, it is so hard to drink water, but alas, this is a knitting podcast. I feel kind of tangenty today. I don't know why. I have a bunch of stuff to talk about today since it's been a couple weeks, and so I thought I would sit down and film a podcast. You've probably seen it floating around on Instagram and other online places that people are posting their favorite knitting designs that they plan on making for 2018 called Make 9. And there's also a knit-along going on that I wanted to mention here because I am going to be submitting my work to this particular knit-along. Emma of the Eldenwood Craft podcast, she has a great podcast. Go check it out. She's hosting a knit-along for 2018. I believe it's going to go all year. And we're basically making 9 knitted things. I don't know if they have to be knitted things. Maybe they can be sewn things or just things in general, crocheted things. I don't really know. Her rules. Go over to her Ravelry group. It's Eldenwood Craft podcast, I believe, on Ravelry. And you'll be able to read all the rules there. I know a couple of other people have done this as well, such as the Woolberry Fiber podcast. I think she's also hosting a bit of a make-along. So if you wanted to double dip in those, check all their rules out and see if that's possible. But I went ahead and made a grid, and I'll put it in here so you can see it. These are the 9 things that I chose from my Revelry favorites of knitwear that I want to make for the new year. And I'll go through them really quick. I have them pulled up on my iPad here. So the first thing is the easy folded poncho. And that's a pattern by Church Mouse Yarns and Tees. I've had this in my favorites for a really long time. I'm not sure why I haven't made it yet. It's made with DK yarn, and it's just a big old stockinette poncho. And that might be why I'm kind of avoiding making it, because I'm afraid it will be kind of one of those really tedious, boring stockinette knits. You know what I mean? But that's on my list because I've been wanting it. I want it in my wardrobe. I want to be able to wear it. This next one is a pattern that just came out recently by Elizabeth Smith. I've knit stuff from Elizabeth Smith before, 2 things, I believe. And this new sweater that is out now called Alanis is a worsted weight, short sleeve, cropped kind of boxy top with a pocket, and it's super cute. And I really want to make it in Quince & Company Owl. I have 2 skeins. I would need 9 more. So that's a little bit of a iffy thing. I really want to make it in the Quince & Company yarn. I have yarn that I could make it with. I have Knit Picks yarn I could make it with, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. The third is a hat called Camella. It's called Camella by Katrin Schubert, and it's a DK weight beanie that's brioche. It's been a while since I've done brioche, so I feel like that might be coming down the line sooner than later because I'm itching to do some more brioche. Another hat that's on the list is a lace beanie by Pernille Larson, and it's a fingering weight lace hat. So cute. Love that pink color. I have pink yarn in stash that could work for that very well, that I got at Rhinebeck this year, or this past year. The next is a cowl. This is such a cool cowl, and it's not brioche. It looks very brioche-like, but it's stranded colorwork, and it's called Corona by Evie Scott. It's a light fingering weight cowl, 2 colors. The Ghostwood mittens have been in my favorites for a while. I really, really want these mittens, and they are worsted weight. It's by Kiyomi Bergen, and they're worsted weight, but held worsted weight yarn held together with mohair. More on that later. I've already started these mittens. However, I'm not using the mohair. Greenbrier is a cardigan with a lace panel on the back. It's called Greenbrier by Thea Coleman. It's a DK weight sweater. Like I said, it's an open cardigan. I don't believe there are buttons, but it's got a beautiful lace pattern on the back. I should just be showing them to you while I'm here, but I figured I would put the pictures in to the podcast. The next thing is a hat that I've been wanting to knit for a really long time called the Amelia E. It's by Amy Miller. It's a worsted weight hat, single color, that looks a lot like Amelia Earhart's helmet, and I just love it. It's so cute. I don't know. I don't even know if it will look good on me. And then finally, the Erika cowl, which is a bulky weight. Yeah, bulky weight, single color fringed lace cowl, and I've already finished that. So those are my Make 9, and I have gotten a pretty good head start on that, I would say, because I've already finished one of the items and have cast on a second. So I'll go ahead and show you my finished objects now. That's a good segue for that. So here is my Erika cowl. I used some yarn and stash, which I'm pretty proud of, considering I really do want to start using more of my stash. This yarn is fantastic. It's Manos del Uruguay, and it's called, it looks like it changed its name. It used to be called Classica, I think, but now when I looked it up on Ravelry, it said something like Ultra Merino or something merino, fine merino. It's not fine merino, but it's a single ply, thin and thick yarn, and I had 2 skeins, so I went ahead and cast it on. The lace part starts at one end, and then you do a little seaming and tie on the fringe, and it was really, really fun to make. I had a blast making this shawl or cowl, and I love wearing it. It's so fun. So it's fun to wear. It's really nice and lightweight. That's I'm glad I used this yarn. It's got fringe on the back also. And yeah, so there is my first finished object. I definitely would make this again. I got a really nice response from all of my online followers on Instagram and also on Facebook. And I've got a couple people asking me to make them one. And I haven't committed to anything yet because you know how well that goes over. As soon as you get asked to make something specific for someone, kind of lose the, and already I wanted to cast another one on right away, and then I thought, well, I don't want to do it if it's, a job. So there she is. That's a good one. I recommend this pattern highly, highly. It took 2 days for me to knit this. Very, very fast. The lace is extremely easy. I did make a small mistake, but it happens, and I don't care. So this yarn is interesting though. I mean, you can see how thin it is in some spots and how really thick it is in other spots. But I think for this particular design, it doesn't matter that much. And so it has you cut 132 14-inch lengths of fringe, and then you tie them on in bunches of 3, about an inch apart. And I had gotten all the way around the whole thing, and I still had all this yarn left, so I ended up having to kind of throw it in. I kind of put in extra at the front, so it's a little bit thicker at the front and a little thinner bit at the back. But yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that. My second finished object, I showed this on my last episode, is my big pink shawl. This is the Roxboro shawl, and it's by Thea Coleman, I believe. And I will correct myself on the screen if that's incorrect. Let me just look online now, because might as well since I've got it up here. Yeah, Thea Coleman. I use Blue Sky Fibers Extra in the Cherry Blossom colorway. Love this color so much. The yarn is gorgeous. It's got alpaca in it. Yeah, it's 55% alpaca and 45% merino wool. So it's extremely warm, and that's exactly what I wanted. A nice cozy shawl that I could throw on my shoulders if I was feeling cold, or I can also fold it up and use it as a scarf, you know, which with this weather we've been having, that's pretty helpful. And the pattern was great, you know, even with all that ribbing, that 2x1 ribbing, it's a lot of ribbing, but it actually knits up very quickly. That lace panel is extremely easy, very memorizable. It's a 4-row repeat. And the size of this is exactly what I had wanted. It's my wingspan, which I'm a pretty big person. And yeah, I just love it. I love this one, definitely. Very happy with this shawl. And it was a fun knit, definitely. I like Thea Coleman's patterns a lot, seems like. I keep knitting them. And I guess that's all I have to say about that shawl. My third finished object is the hat that I knit for my brother. Here it is. I actually played around with keeping this for myself, but I am going to send it to him. I wanted to show it on the podcast before I sent it out to him. This pattern is called the Rutherford hat by Veronica Job. And it's a DK weight, ribbed hat, twisted rib, lots of twisted rib. If you don't like twisted rib, this is not the hat pattern for you. It didn't bother me at all because you're knitting it in a round, so it's really just knitting through the back loop. And it's got a nice little lace row there, just an eyelet row there, which kind of helps if you like to wear it. I would have wanted to, I don't think he'll wear it that way, basically. So I didn't knit it too tall. He likes a beanie, but I think he wears it more close to his head, like a beanie or like a toque. And I don't think he ever folds up the brim. If he wanted to, he could with this particular pattern. But the thing I like about this pattern is that you can wear it on both sides. That's the wrong side, and it's really beautiful that way too. The decreases for the crown were interesting. I'll just say that. It's a paid for pattern, so I'm not going to get into a lot of detail. They were interesting. Little tedious, I must admit, but worth it in the end. I really like how the hat turned out. The yarn I used is Blue Moon Fiber Arts, and it's the Yaxy. So it's a blend of yak and merino and silk. Or actually just 60% wool, not merino. 20% silk and 20% yak. It's a plied yarn. And I believe it's discontinued now. It says so on Ravelry anyway. And I definitely want to knit one of these for myself. Like I said, I really like it. I like how it feels on your head. It's one size, but it fits great. And I love the really nice, neat cast on edge on that also. I believe I just did a long tail cast on. But it has you go right into the pattern. And I just like the finished look of it. It's a very nice and neat edge. So that is my final finished object. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I've been doing a lot of knitting. I have also been knitting some socks, and I will show you those now. So heading on into the works in progress, I talked about these last time also. These are my socks for my BFF from high school, Rosie. Rosie had sent me this Red Heart yarn. Red Heart, I don't have the label in here. Sock yarn, self-patterning. And she sent me a solid color for the heels and toes. And the yarn is really nice. I like it. I like it. So I've got them going 2 at once. So I'm concurrently knitting these, and they're about the same. She wears a size 12, and I really hope they're gonna fit her and not be too big. They're really big. I'm knitting them on 9-inch circulars, and it's 72-inch sock. So I've asked her to go ahead and measure. That's how the Sockmatician has you measure for when to start the heel when you're doing a toe-up sock. Is you measure the sock on your hand, and when it hits here, it's time to start the heel. So I asked her what that measurement was, and she said we think it's 9 inches, but she was actually in Hawaii at the time on a vacation, so she didn't have a measuring device nearby. So I'm still kind of waiting to hear back from her on the actual measurement of that. So I'm kind of just knitting along on these as much as I feel like it, a little at a time. The yarn is great. I like it. So when I get to the heel, I'll do the blue. And I don't know how long I'll make these. I think I probably won't do them real long, just because I want them to feel comfortable on her feet, and I don't know. It's hard to knit for other people, you guys. It's hard. Socks are tough. I don't know. Without her here, it's so hard to know the length. And, if I give those to her, even if they are big, it won't be that big of a deal, right? Because they'll just be like slipper socks. It'll be kind of like around the house socks. So I can't lose, right? I'm gonna just keep going, and I'm keeping them in my Jenna Rose Handmade bag. And also using my other Jenna Rose bag for my second pair of socks, works in progress. And I've got a new pin. This is Sandy by the Lakeside's pin that I purchased recently. My husband got me some yarn for Christmas. We drew names, and he drew my name, and I gave him some ideas on what I wanted. And this is a Portuguese yarn that I had him order from Tolt Yarn and Wool. And the company, it's called Mondine. I'll show you the picture. Retrosaria. It's a Portuguese company, and that's the label, which I love. I get a kick out of packaging for some reason. So here's the yarn. Something about that colorway spoke to me, and I love how it's knitting up, it's knitting up much different than what I thought it would. I am ready for the heel on this sock. So as you can see, it's doing this micro striping thing, and I love the pink and purple speckles between the gray and white stripes. I mean, they're awesome. So awesome. This yarn is a little bit scratchy, if you're not into that. Just warning you. It's going to be hard wearing sock yarn. I mean, that's the good thing about it. It's gonna be, that's the other one. I'm knitting them kind of concurrently, so I'm gonna knit this one until I get to the heel, and then do the heels on them both, and then continue up the leg. So I got a little bit more to go on that one. These are for me, and these will be an entry for the other knit along I'm participating in, which is being hosted by Joni Unraveled Podcast, Kate, and I think she's co-hosting that with someone else. Yeah, Rachel of the Knit and Knitabilities podcast, and their cowl that they're hosting is called the Treat Yo Dang Self cowl. So it's all about selfish knitting, and that's my first. I might enter my cowl in that too, because it's got to be after January 1st. And so my cowl will be an entry, and these socks will be an entry also. They don't have a finished object thread up yet, but I'm sure they will soon. And yes, those are coming along well. And my final work in progress is the mittens that I talked about, that are part of my Make 9. So I'm making these ghostwood mittens, and you can see the halo on that from the mohair. I don't have any mohair. I need to get some. I wanted to do it with mohair, and I didn't have the opportunity to buy any. So I'm not. And I want to just give you a tip on how I deal with charts. These mittens are charted. They don't have any written instructions. Let me just show you the first one. I have already finished the first one. I did this yesterday, like so fast. I'm using worsted weight yarn. They turned out awesome. These are my very first mittens I've ever knit. I've done fingerless gloves, never mittens. Not sure why. The pattern is by Kiyomi Bergen. And this yarn is Haven Fiber Arts, and it's a skein of worsted MCN that she had gifted to me. And it's a really, really nice and soft. Gotta love MCN. That's an afterthought thumb. Sorry about that. Call from husband. Okay, so as I was saying, this is I did my very first afterthought thumb. Never done an afterthought anything. Little tricky. I've even watched videos. I don't know, picking up the stitches is hard for some reason. So then after I knit the thumb, that's my only complaint, is that the thumb is a little tight. I could have used two extra stitches on the thumb. But it's okay. It's all right. So there was a big hole here and a big hole here, but I fixed those easily by just weaving in some ends here. Other than that, super easy pattern, really simple cable. And I did Kitchener. Not a very great job, but I did. I'm not a big fan of Kitchener, but how else are you going to close a mitten, I guess? So anyway, that's my half-finished object. And this morning I did cast on my second mitten. And I'm working on the cuff. So, like I said, I started this late afternoon yesterday, finished it last night. So a good 3 hours of knitting, I think. And yeah, so this will probably be done fairly soon. If not today, then maybe tomorrow. And I have my yarn in this bag because I pulled from the inside of the cake, and I don't know why I did that, because I hate doing that, because then the cake gets all bleh. And so yeah, basically the cake is falling apart in the bottom of this bag. So I'm keeping it in my Eldenwood Craft drawstring bag. Oh, that's what I wanted to tell you about, is what I do with the pattern. So that's just the little schematic. And these are the cable instructions, which I've color coded so that on the chart, it's easier to read. Just a little tip. If you have trouble reading charts, that's how I do it. We'll color pencil, color them in so that when you're reading the chart, you know exactly which cable to do. So I also did that on my sweater pattern, which my cabled sweater, which is being ignored at the moment. So I guess that's all my works in progress, and that's all of my finished objects. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about another thing I recently received. My husband, he's the best, got me a gleaner. I haven't used it yet, but here it is. It's fancy teal. The flint brush and the shaver. I mean, I did use it because obviously it's got some schmeck on it. But this is going to be very handy to have, and I wanted it, and I'm so glad he got this for me. Like I said, I kind of gave him a heads up. A little bit of a shopping list. He doesn't know what to get. You know, he's kind of clueless that way. But this was an excellent gift, and I love that it comes in this little bag to kind of keep it nice. So that was cool. Another thing I got recently. I'm one step closer to the punch needle, you guys. I got the fabric. This is monk's cloth. I ordered this directly from Amy Oxford's website. It's got some white guidelines on the fabric. I got 2 yards. And I've also ordered a hoop. It's a double hoop. So it's got a 10-inch hoop on one side and a 14-inch hoop on the other, and it's kind of shaped like a drum. So it's got the hoop, and they're held together by 4 like sticks. I'll show it to you when I get it. I got it online from Joann Fabrics, and it still hasn't even shipped yet, so probably going to be another week before I get that, which sucks because I'm really itching to like practice. I did notice that Hobby Lobby has the Morgan no slip hoops in a couple of sizes, just the single hoop though. So with a coupon, I think they're $30. The size I was looking at was a 12 inch, I think. $30 with a coupon, 40% off. I mean, that's pretty good. Just to practice would be excellent because I have the punch needle. Now I have the cloth. Obviously got lots of yarn. So I'm looking forward to playing around with that. I mean, am I going to whip out big rugs? No. I'm thinking small scale, maybe some pillows. Maybe something I can hang on the wall. Maybe a gift. Just something to play around with. I was actually showing my husband videos, the Amy Oxford videos, when we were at his mother's house for Christmas. And he was very interested in how that whole process. And I was asking him about it again yesterday, and he didn't seem as interested anymore. So maybe it was just a fleeting thing. I had his attention for a little while. And he was actually listening to things I say. I do tend to talk a lot, so I get it. He kind of tunes me out after a while. Another thing I recently got is a new project, Notions pouch. The maker that made this printed the fabric herself, and she's amazing. Her name is Mika Collins, and her business name and Etsy store is called Fogwoods. Go check it out. She makes amazing leather bags, which I have my heart set on one that's in her shop, and I hope it doesn't sell. I want it so bad. Why am I saying so much? But I just had to have this because it was a little bit more in my budget, and I love the fabric, and I just love her. Mika used to make lampwork glass beads, and I used to buy them from her a lot. And then she had a shift in creative direction and started making different things. So she stopped making beads, and then she started making carved wooden spoons, and those were beautiful. I didn't end up getting one of those. And then she got into printing her own fabric and doing some sewing, and now she's into leather work, and she's just like blowing my mind. She's amazing. So definitely check out her site because she has amazing things. So talented. I mean, so multifaceted. The talent. Oh my gosh. I wish I had that kind of talent. And the last thing I want to show you is this. This here is my very first self-striping ball of yarn. And I ordered it online from the Yarn Jar. This is the Blossom colorway. This took a good 6 weeks. That's my only thing. I am so impatient. It was so hard to wait that long. I don't know why, because when I got it, I didn't even cast it on right away because I got 2 socks going at the moment and a pair of mittens. So, I love it. I wanted to try it out. It's super soft. The base is a 2-ply fingering 80/20. and I'm excited to try it out. I also have that other skein that I had already talked about from Coloring Book Yarns, so that's 2 self-striping, and then ordered from Quare. I don't know how you say their name. Quare. I'll put it on the screen here. I ordered 21 stripe sock yarn from her because she had an update yesterday, and it's so awesome. It's like multicolored stripes, and in between the colors are like different shades of gray. I'll show it to you next time. So that one was ready to ship, so that's cool. Hi, buddy. Cassius is curious about the setup here that it's going on. What's going on? Why do you have this chair in the middle of the room? Why is this box on it? Why are you talking? She also sent that little stitch marker. So now I've done the afterthought thing, I can probably do an afterthought heel. And that's, I'm thinking what I will do with my self-striping yarn, because I like toe up. Just knit the tube and put in the heel after. I'm a little nervous about it though, because I had a heck of a time just doing it on that worsted weight yarn. I can't imagine how it's going to be on a fingering weight, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, shall we? The neighbor's dog is barking. I hope you can't hear that. Well, I guess I'm done for today. I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. I'm looking forward to showing you my progress next time. And I should be back in about 2 weeks, hopefully, if all goes well. And I hope you all have a good January. So thanks so much again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.